Welcome to Masechtas Eiruvin. This is a great opportunity to jump on board. There's a few things you have to know in order to learn Masechtas Eiruvin. So, first of all, there are four Rishuyos. We know that. There's Rosh Yachid, there's Rabim, there's a Carmelis, which is inside Rosh Rabim, but it's either something that is not 10 Tvachim high and 4 Tvachim wide. In other words, that would be a Rosh Yachid within a Rosh Rabim. It's something else, like sort of a place where no one walks, a cordon area where no one goes. And there's a Makam P'tur, which is inside the house where anyone could do anything they want. Okay, there are different types of partitions. So we're going to be talking about, first of all, something that's wider than 10 amas. A doorway under halacha is as wide as 10 amas. With this we saw in Masechtes Klayim, where it talked about walls and openings in those walls. Any gap is less than 3 tvachim is not considered a gap at all. And we have gaps inside the wall. Then we have Lavid, and Lavid is where anything less than 3 tvachim is considered closed. So if it's a 3 tvachim open space, it's just considered like it's a closed space. We have Good, where walls extend up to hit the roof. And we have Pitikra, which is the edges of roof extend downward. We can extend that. We had a lot in Bechtel Shabbos, and we can explain as we go along. And with Source of Pesach, anything that looks like a door, we have the frames, and we have on top. Then we have the Mavoy and the Chutzner. Mavoy is an alleyway, Chutzner is a courtyard. And the different types of Eruv, there's Eruv Chatzeris, joining two different. Eruv means a mixture. So really what we're talking about is joining a mixture. So we have an Eruv of joining different courtyards. We have obviously an Eruv Tafshilin that allows you to cook on Yom Tif for Shabbos the next day. And we have an Eruv regarding a city or Sarabim to make that considered a Yachid. And everything else that we're going to go through. There's also a Tchum. Tchum is 2,000 amis outside of the city. And that is where we're going to start. So, some concepts to start. That was the concept to start. And now some definitions to know. First of all, a Chutzner is a courtyard. You have a Mavoy. A Mavoy is an alleyway that goes to the courtyard. You have a Mavoy Sosum, a closed Mavoy, and that's one that is closed on both sides. And it's Rabim, is regular Rabim. Then you also have the different parts of the doorway. For instance, you have the Korah, which goes across, a cross beam. You have a Lechi that goes up. Source of Pesach is anything that looks like a doorway. All right, let's begin. Mavai Shahu Gavaya Master Mamba, a Mavai that is higher than 20 Yamis, you might has to be decreased. Rabbi Yudah says, the answer is not decreased. Vacharish Ma'eser Amais, if you have an interest rate Mavai, it's wider than 10 Amais, you might has to be reduced. Im Yesh Light Pesach, if it does have a entrance way. So Afal Pi Shahu Rachav Ma'eser Amais, even though it's wider than 10 Amais, and it's Rachlamai, it does not need to be reduced. Mavai Shahu Gavaya Master, Mavai. This is a courtyard, and the walls go up more than 10. Sorry, behind 20 amis. Rabbi Yasi Amar Lasta. Rabbi Yasi says this like this that he says a stam without attributing to anyone else. Rabbi Acham B'Shem Rav. Rach says B'Shem Rav. Rabbana Yalfino. We learned that Lav Psicha Yisrael Heichal. The rabbis arrived the entranceway of Mavoy, the entranceway from the Heichal of the Beis Hamikdash. The actual doorway going into the Beis Hamikdash Heichal, which Hor just built, that was 20 amis tall. Rabbi, not the actual building. The building was much taller, but the actual entranceway going in. Rabbi Yudah Yalef La Pesach Ulam, and he says it's the Pesach of the antechamber. So they're saying the same thing. They're just arguing which part was the 20 amis that was high. In Pesach Ulam Daya Abraham. And just way of the antechamber, it would have been sufficed for 40 amas because it's just going into the building itself. So it's not in the Taman. So we learned in the mission over there. So at Pesach Ulam, the entrance of the Ulam, the antechamber, was getting into the building itself, into the Kaddish. It was higher than 40 and it was wider than 20. It says, Even if it was 45 amis, 40, 50 amis, still would have been good because you're going into the building. When you're going into the building, so you have a choice of Pesach. Dani Barkapar said, Afilu Mayam, even if it was 100 amis. Okay. Amar Rav Avin says, Rabbi Yuda Kitani. Rabbi Yuda says, this is with its own view. Rabbana Kitani, and Rabbana said, this is with their own view. Tanant, we learned in a Mishnah, a similar bridges that beneath the road that passes through, one may carry beneath them on Shabbos. The Rabbi Yuda, and we had this about Masechta Shabbos, and Rachamim say you cannot do it. Just as you say over there, that Atroya as Hatikra Kilo Yeredes V'Susemes, that you perceive the edge of the roof that is, we have, like I said, we said in the introduction, that extends downward. So therefore, you should go off for the bridge as well. So Ufachas, you're here too. Atroyas Hamlamshera Kilo Yeredes V'Susemes. You perceive that the boards of the bridge that extend downward, it closes it off, and therefore that's why you're allowed to carry there. He the Tani de Rabbi Yehuda Besucha. He the Tani Mavoi. In the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, respect to a sukkah is the same as the opinion with respect to the Mavoi. In other words, how I has to be. He the Tani Rabbanan Besucha. He the Tani Mavoi. The opinion of Rabbanan respect to the sukkah, respect to also a Mavoi. Same as the opinion. So whatever the halachas apply to a Mavoi, also apply to a sukkah. So whatever happens to an entranceway, to an alleyway, how tall it has to be, how wide it has to be, all those things. Same thing with the Tzuras Pesach and the walls of a sukkah. V'la damya, and the laws of a sukkah are not really similar. There are things that in sukkah are kosher and a mavoi is not kosher. And things that are kosher with a mavoi and pasul sukkah. So like for instance, branch reeds are valid for a sukkah. And you can't make a mavoi out of that. And that's not going to be considered attached to the wall to allow you to carry. The Tane K, and it was also taught in Brisa, Heavy Arba, Daikrin, Vesechan, Al Gabe. And if one brought 4 branch reeds and placed them over them, so the sukkah is kosher. Mavoi pasul. But the mavoi, making that, for a mavoi, just having the extended branches there is not enough to make it a mavoi, to make it an alleyway. Hadad Taima, so which that we learned. So Bigayrin Shleisha Lamaila because of the Mavoi. That when the branch reeds rise 3 tefachim above the walls of the Mavoi, Avalim Einon Gavoyin Shleisha because of the Mavoi, even if they do not rise 3 tefachim above the walls of the Mavoi, kasher, it's still kasher. B'she'ein behen roichav arba, and furthermore, so when they are not 4 tefachim wide, aval im yeshba roichav arba, but if they are 4 tefachim wide, afilu gavoyin kasher, even if they are very high, the kaira on top of it will still be valid for a mavoi and for a sukkah. The funais. So we have one walls. Kashay rice b'sukkah b'solas mavoi. We have walls that are kasher in a sukkah and pasul in regards to an alleyway to make it closed off. Mutani came, and so too we taught in the brisa that shtayim gilchasan ushloishan afilu tefach. 2 proper walls and a third one you can tefach. There we go. Now you have a sukkah. Rabbi Chia b'shem Rabbi Yechanan says shtayim shel arba tvachim ushloishes afilu tefach kasher. 2 walls that are really 4 tvachim each, and a third wall, so even a tefach is even good. Mavoi ad shiyu begufa miarba ruchaisav, but a mavoi isn't valid unless it really has its 4 walls. Rachav may aser amos, wider than 10 amos, a sukkah kosher, mavoi pasul, but a mavoi will still be pasul. Hidila aleha es agafen desadlas, and we learned in the Mishnah that if one lifted up the sukkah on a grapevine or a gourd vine or ivy vine, like hisai, so ivy, v'sichei chagabav, and you cover on the top psula, it's pasul. It can't be touched to the ground. How to tame? We learned over there. Al base sayim when it's 2 base saws. Aval yosa base sayim when it's not 2 base saws in area. Nasik v'chitza shehukva zraim. So the mavoim was deemed as an enclosure for the sake of regarding zraim seating, and that we learned again in Klayim. She'ein metaltel ba ella b'yarba amos. That one may not carry there freely, only within 4 amos, and that's for Shabbos. However, but it will be considered a wall separation regarding Klayim seats. We'll see on one side, seat on the other side. Chamasa meruba machzlazes. If sunlight was covering, you exceed the shade. Besuka psula. Then the case of the sukkah is invalid. The mavoi kasher, but the mavoi is full kasher. You don't have to worry about that any covering on a mavoi is like a real roof. With a sukkah, you have to worry about it. Sukkah mikaira psula. Sukkah that is roofed is invalid. Mava Mekera kosher, like we said, that a mava that's roofed is fine. Rabbi Yacha b'shem Rabbi Shia, Rabbi Yacha said in Rabbi Shia, lo yisav davar Mekera. It's not all the way up to the roof. Ella afilu nasan mislos yesh ba roichav arba tfachim. Rather, even if he placed the roof board of 4 tfachim wide, so therefore can make that one possible. Materis is a mavoi. It's still mutter for the mavoi that you carry there. And that is the first half of Eiruvin Yerushalmi.